going on, man? What's up?
So I'm still working on that deal I was talking to you about last week. Uh,
Just refresh me. Which one was it?
the She wants to sell the house. It's a probate, but she has squatters in there.
Oh yeah. Okay. Any
And
progress on it?
well, I talked to her the day after, and she doesn't want to put a contract. She doesn't want to sign anything because she doesn't know the price of the house. Because her lawyer told her she needs to get the house appraised first.
Yeah. Are you shocked? I told you that he would say that, right?
Yeah,
Do you know there's no rule, there's no law that's the lawyer thinks he's trying to protect her. But let me ask you, what do you think an appraiser's going to say with a squatter in the middle of the house? They won't do it. I'm just telling you, they won't go on the inside with that.
yeah.
So
She
you can
filed for
tell,
eviction, but they
yeah,
they didn't get out of the house, so she had to file a wrongful detainer act.
yeah.
And
Squatters are terrible, guys. It's not fun. I've bought a few select properties with squatters in them, but when I buy them, like they're deep, like the discount's so deep, like I'm okay with the risk.
yeah, and
And
the whole story is crazy. Like she said, the squatters are actually her brother and his family. The property taxes haven't been paid. Right now, the utilities aren't on.
so, how are they living in there?
She thinks she that they're renting the rooms out, and then I
Yeah,
guess doing something, but I don't know.
I
I
don't
just don't
know.
know where to go to get her to.
I just
Uh,
like say, okay, you can get an appraisal. Like you and me can't get in. How's the appraiser going to get in? Like so
right.
that's a lawyer just giving you an automatic answer. Um, have you looked up the value of the house, the approximate value, just the average?
Yeah.
What
The
number did you come up with?
270.
Okay. How big of a house are we talking about here?
She said her grandmother was doing work on the house before,
Okay.
so I haven't been on the inside or anything, but it's listed as a 2.5.
Okay. And how bad do you think you've have you driven by the outside of the house?
Yeah.
It's like
Uh,
boarded up windows or anything like that?
no, I haven't seen anything, but there was one window that was busted, and they haven't taken care of the grass or anything. There's overgrowth everywhere.
So she probably has code violations too, right?
Yeah, and I see there's $334,000 worth of equity in it. So
Well, if it's worth so is 279 what they're normally worth, or I'm confused.
that's what I saw some of the other houses were selling for, but
Yeah.
I didn't check the complete conditions of them.
So did she get this property via probate?
Yes,
Okay, and is the probate still open?
yes.
I mean, the value of the house is only going to go down.
Right.
So I would just keep trying to work with her and like get an offer. But here's the problem: now you've got the classic lawyer block going on,
Mhm.
and once the lawyer gets in there, remember an appraisal is going to cost her $500 or $600. And by the way, the lawyer gets $200 of it in his pocket by just making a phone call. That's why he's recommending it. A house like that doesn't. Um, you can make a simpler approach and tell them to get a BPO. Do you know what a BPO is?
No.
So it stands for broker price opinion, and it's kind of like the poor man's appraisal. And what they do is they hire a local real estate company, and usually a sweet little old lady goes out there and appraises the house.
Mhm.
The reason I'm telling you that is number one, it's cheap, and lawyers don't like it because they don't get paid on them. The average BPO costs between $50 and $75. And number two, realtors don't like to go to properties that are dirty, nasty, and have squatters.
Right.
And they will put a really low price on it if they see all those things going on with it. So an appraiser, I don't think even if you paid an appraiser, I don't think they would do it.
So do
So
you think I should just keep talking to her and then throw a
you got
price
to
at
keep
that?
talking to her because in the end of the day, she just wants to. She says she wants to sell it, right?
Yeah, she wants it
Okay.
gone as soon as they're out of the house.
So you just need to find a number that like she's okay with without like trying to steal the house from her. And that just takes a little bit of artwork because she doesn't know what it's worth. So what I would do is just start Well, in the house under normal conditions, in whatever your number is, I don't know what it is because you know your market, and you can start educating her on it. And then you could offer a BPO. It's going to fail miserably. Like I can't imagine any appraiser like wanting to do a BPO on those houses. So BPOs, they want like the house empty, they want it vacant on a lockbox, and they don't want anybody questioning what they're doing. So the minute they go to a house with someone there, even the appraisers don't like you being there. So the difference between an appraisal and a BPO is $75 and $600. So you can try to save her money with that offering or that.
Okay.
Number two, I would try to figure out and see what you can get a value on that house. Like you got to get an accurate ARV. If you had to tell me today what the ARV is, what number would you tell me?
Honestly, I don't know because the prices are all over the place.
So you got to get a number nailed down and figure this out. So if you want, you can always recruit like a local realtor to help you kind of figure numbers out depending on what you do. But you got to figure out what the ARV is, and then you're gonna have to figure at least probably a $70,000 to $80,000 play in that based on like damages of squatters. So I've never been with a squatter that didn't do 50 grand worth of damages minimum.
Wow.
Okay. So if the house was worth say 300, then I'd be talking about an offer of 150, maybe 170 and just see where she goes. You got to start somewhere, right? So you're better off like starting a little bit low. And then she goes, listen, Antoine, I don't know the value of the house. My lawyer suggested an appraisal. I go, how's he going to do an appraisal if you and me can't get in the house? That's a great question. I tell you what, I could get a BPO for you. And she's going to ask you, what's that? I go, that's when you basically get a professional realtor or the broker, the realtor broker. And then they give us an opinion on what the property is worth in its current condition. Is that something that would be of value to you? Now, if you can do it, you can go out and handpick the person to do it and then just go find an investor-friendly realtor and explain the situation and let them help you come up with a number. But I think she is looking for a little education on the number because obviously her realtor friend's not her realtor, the lawyer's not helping him out at all. Yeah. So don't give up. You got to keep going. She just doesn't know what it's worth. And she's now feels like she's under control of the attorney, which is I told you was the risk on this deal. But it's 50-50 on all of them like this. You got to find out what you think that thing is like fixed up. And then you got to minus off and you're just going to have to guesstimate the repairs. And your contract will be written for final inspection. So if you thought there were $50,000 in repairs and it wound up being like 100 or 150, then you can renegotiate the contract. You have to leave room whenever there's a squatter in there. If you took this property over as is and took over the current eviction, if you can get it 50 cents on the dollar, I'd do it all day long. But I don't think, I think the lawyer's going to like frown upon it no matter what you do. So you realize you don't have to wait till the probate is over. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you got to just get into your numbers and start digging in the weeds here, because if you wait too long, somebody else is going to give her the numbers and she's going to like figure out like what to do. But if she wants to sell it, you got to politely try to get the lawyer out of the way. The best thing you do is if you can enter into the contract directly with her, and then you don't need the lawyer's permission for anything, but she's under the lawyer magical spell, and all clients believe that lawyers would never steer them wrong and they're all perfect. And there's nothing I can do about that. You just don't disrespect the lawyer and try to get accurate ARVs and make some assumptions and start playing around with her on the numbers.
Okay.
And just here's that. But it's kind of funny. An appraiser, really, if you can't get in there, let me ask you, have you asked her if somebody knocks on the door, will they let them in?
She's tried to go to the house and
they won't let her in, right?
No.
So how is anybody else going to get in there? It's like ridiculous.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm telling you, hang in there, because this is the formula for like a really good deal. It's just frustrating. The only thing that's screwing you up is the attorney. You know that, right? Without the attorney, this would be a home run.
Yeah. Do you recommend I wait for because she wanted to wait for the wrongful detainer to go through. Do I have to wait for them to be out of the house to put it on the contract?
You can still have it under contract and make that as part of the final condition. And listen, I prefer they get rid of the squatter, because squatters are a nightmare, because you can't wholesale the house. You can't assign it with the squatter in it, because you're going to have the same problem she does. But you could, Most people selling a property like this in probate, they just want certainty in their life. Okay. And then you can also go, listen, if you enter into this deal, I'll cover the legal cost for the eviction. It can't be more than $1,500. And to be honest, if you gives you a good enough deal, that $1,500 might pay you 100-fold. Like little things like that. Because the flip side is like, well, I'll finish the eviction, get them out or get the house cleared, and then when it goes through probate, and then they can put it on the regular market for like the highest bid. But if they do that, you really have no shot in hell. So what you'd like to be is like the day that judge enters into a some sort of writ of possession, you want to be the first one to be able to execute and move forward that contract. So why not go ahead and do all the title work? Let me get all the paperwork done. And then that way, as soon as we have something from the courts, you don't have to wait another 90 days to get this done. Okay. Now, it's going to be challenging for you because you can't really market that property till it's vacant, but it is what it is. It's like, I hate squatters, man. Like if I have to take it with a squatter, they have to be giving it away to me. Like it's got to be an insane price because there's a lot of risk when you do that. So if you can get it the day they enter into that judgment, because by the way, once the judge enters into the judgment, the squatters are usually gone in 24 to 48 hours because they know a sheriff's coming. And how do I put this nicely? When someone's squatting in a property, do you think they want the sheriff sniffing around that property?
No,
because they're usually going to find illicit drugs, all other sorts of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are, they got warrants on them, and they usually. So once they put that notice on the door, and usually in 48, 72 hours after the judgment, they're all gone. The last thing they want is a cop sniffing around those places. So keep working with her. She just doesn't know what it's worth, and she's hiding a little bit behind the attorney. And then I constantly remind them, listen, remember what we talked about when we initially talked. You said your goal is to have the property sold. Okay. You don't have to wait till this is all done. I get the squatter thing as a little bit of a family deal, but why don't we have everything else done? So once we clear that obstacle, we can just move forward and get this deal done. Is that something we can work together on? I like you. I want to make this work. So you got to make it as easy as possible because the lawyer's not going to make it easier on her. And the lawyer's going to keep throwing up roadblocks. But always tell the seller, especially in probate, they ultimately have the power in the decision because who works for who? The lawyer works for the personal representative, not the other way around. But most lawyers treat the personal representative like they work for them. And that's why they start telling you an appraisal is completely out of line on that property. It's actually wrong and it's dangerous. And the attorney could be held liable for sending an appraiser out in a reckless situation like that. So you can offer a BPO. It's $75. Say, listen, I would even pay for it if you could pick out the BPO and then go find like an investment property company that deals in stuff like that. But make sure they're not going to write a contract behind your back type of deal. Okay. Nobody's getting in that property. You can't appraise it. And the BPOs are like, listen, I'm just going to have to give you the lowest number possible because I can't see the inside of it. And that's how they work. So that's how we did a lot of our short sales back when we couldn't get inside of them. And it still works today. So just keep working on it. And you've got what we call lawyer block going on. I like to use another word, but I'm not going to use it. And you're just going to have to hang in there. Eventually the lawyer, they will make a mistake. I'm just telling you, they get lazy and they forget about their client. And then once the client gets frustrated, that's when you can help them out. Go, listen, you want to sell it. I want to buy it. Let's make this thing work. I'm not sure the attorney can do the probate but the probate doesn't have to stop you from selling the property. And then the proceeds can go through probate. The sooner you get that property sold, the better this is going to be. And keep in mind, Antoine, what is your leverage over this deal? Like, what do you think for telling your seller? Because I know they're stalling on you. What's happening with the real estate market?
Oh, the prices are going down.
Prices are going down, my friend. Interest rates are going up. Recession's coming. Like, honestly, I would want to get rid of this thing sooner than later. But I can wait. But I'm just, listen, my goal is to save the estate money and give it certainty. And I can do it one of two ways. We could just buy the property, or we can wait till the eviction is somewhat set by the judge. And then as soon as we get that paperwork, I'll be ready to go. There's no delay in running title or anything like that. Okay.
Okay.
Because it's once you enter the contract, you're going to have another 30 days to kick this lawyer in the butt to have them enter a motion to liquidate the asset. So if she doesn't do anything right now, like she's not even selling this property this year. And why not? Why not get rid of the headache in 2022, right?
Right.
So, and by the way, you said it was her brother that was the squatter?
Yes, her brother and his family.
Okay. So I assume they have a strained relationship.
I guess so. And they were
Okay.
using the grandmother's account to pay for all the stuff in the house, but she cut them
Yeah.
off. So now
Listen,
yeah.
I've never, just so you guys know, I've never had a good experience with a squatter. Squatter is completely different than like a holdover tenant. Okay. Squatters are like, they don't care. They don't follow any rules. And that's the problem with it. So keep following up with it. You kind of understand the angle I'm going at with this. You need to just take time and let her know you're on her side. And eventually you got to have her break from what her lawyer keeps telling her.
Okay.
Or you could also call a poker face and go ahead, have him get it appraised. You can't get in there. I can't get in there. He can't get in there. Maybe he's got like a magic wand for someone that can enter the property with no resistance.
Mm.
Go listen, whoever going over there, make sure they're packing because it's going to get interesting. It's ridiculous. You wonder why I get so aggravated with lawyers, man.
Yeah.
They think, you know what ticks me off about lawyers? Like a lot of my friends are lawyers and stuff. They're smart people. But the thing is, they always think they're above everybody else. It doesn't matter. I'm like, drives me nuts. Just be patient with it. Eventually something will give. She's going, just so you know, in the end, Antoine, she's going to sell it to an investor and most likely a wholesaler. The question is it going to be you? And this is where follow-up and persistence is everything. So always let them know you're on their side and you want to help her out. But in the end, she has the power to make this work. Nobody else.
Yeah, she says she's talked to other people, but I was the only one that didn't sound like a robot.
Yeah. But listen, I want to help you out. But like, I would do market falling, and we're getting ready to wind up this year. And what better way to go into the holidays having known this deal's done? I'm telling you, man, and just keep saying, how good would it feel to know this deal's done? It's in the bag. It's certain. And I would just try to keep invoking those emotions. And eventually, if she makes a decision to override and sign a contract with you, then you don't have to worry about what the lawyer says. So unfortunately, you have to hold tight until she signs that contract. Just make her feel at ease. Listen, I've entered in contracts. I tell you what, I'll enter the contract, and up till the day of the eviction of that, if you want to get out of it, I'll let you out of it. I'll even write it in there. What do you got to lose, Antoine, right? You don't have a contract now, so you might as well give it a shot if you have to go that method.
Mm-hmm.
How many other sellers you know is going to give you an automatic out on this deal? Now, listen, the bottom line is you can't make people sell you their house. So when you can't get traditional traction by keep pounding them with like persistence, try some like non-traditional approaches. Go, listen, what if I wrote you an open-ended contract? The whole goal of the open-ended contract is to put her at ease, to get the signature. And number two, keep any other investors out of her hair. Because in the end, she's going to have to agree to sell it to you anyways. And by the way, I've had probates where they've signed full, contracts and they've backed out anyway. So like, what's the difference? So if you can't get her to do the traditional way, go, listen, I'm going to go a step further. I'm going to give you what I call an open-ended contract. And it means you're just committing to me now up through the end of this year. And then if we can get that eviction move forward, then we both can agree to move forward. You might as well give it a shot. The only people that give you a gripe on that is the attorneys. That's not valid. That's not legal. It is. They just didn't like that you didn't consent with them on it. So give it a shot and see how it works out.